March 22, 1945. A transport ship docks at San Francisco Harbor. In its hold, 347 Japanese prisoners of war, captured across the islands of the Pacific, step onto American soil for the first time. They are silent. They have been prepared for this moment by everything their training, their culture, and their commanders have told them. They expect execution. They expect humiliation. They expect to be treated the way they have been taught Americans treat the defeated, with barbarism, with vengeance, with the cruelty of a mongrel nation that has no honor. What they do not expect is the bus ride, or the barracks with windows, or the baseball game on Sunday. But those things are coming, and when they arrive, they will destroy everything these men believe about the enemy they have been fighting. The prisoners are processed through an intake facility at Angel Island. They are photographed, documented, issued uniforms that are not rags but actual military fatigues, American-made, clean. They are given medical exams. A dentist looks at the teeth of a young soldier named Takeshi Yamada and through an interpreter tells him he has a cavity that needs filling. Yamada, who has not seen a dentist since 1942, who expected at best to be ignored and at worst to be beaten, does not understand what is happening. The dentist fills the tooth. He uses novocaine. He works carefully, professionally. Afterward, he hands Yamada a toothbrush and a small tube of paste and says, through the interpreter, "Brush twice a day. It'll help." Yamada holds the toothbrush like it is a weapon he does not recognize. This is not the America he was taught to expect. And this is only the first hour. They are transported inland to a camp in the high desert of California, near a town called Lordsburg. The bus drives through open countryside, past fields, past farms, past children playing in schoolyards who stop and wave at the bus without knowing, or perhaps without caring, who is inside. The prisoners sit in stunned silence. One of them, a sergeant named Hiroshi Tanaka, will later write in a journal that was preserved by his family, "I thought we would be taken to a hole in the ground, to a place where no one could see what would happen to us. Instead, we drive through their towns. They do not hide us. They do not hide from us. I do not know what this means." The bus arrives at the camp as the sun is setting. The prisoners step out, and they see something that makes no sense. There are fences, yes, but they are low. There are guard towers, but they are far apart. And inside the compound, there are buildings. Not cells, buildings with windows, with doors, with a mess hall, with a recreation yard. It looks in some terrible, confusing way like a small town. That first night they are fed. The meal is simple: rice, canned vegetables, bread, coffee. But it is served on trays in a cafeteria line by American soldiers who do not sneer, do not shove, do not spit. The food is hot. There is enough for seconds. Yamada takes his tray to a table and sits, and he realizes he is shaking. Not from fear, from the cognitive dissonance of a reality that does not match the script. He was told Americans were savages. He was told that capture meant death, or worse than death. He was told that the only honorable choice was to die fighting. And yet here he is, eating warm rice, in a building with lights, surrounded by men who are confused and silent because none of this makes sense. After the meal, a camp officer, a captain in his 40s, addresses them through an interpreter. He says, "You are prisoners of war. You will be treated in accordance with the Geneva Convention. You will work and you will be paid. You will receive mail, and you may send mail. You will have access to medical care, to recreation, and to religious services. You are expected to follow the rules. If you do, you will be treated fairly." Then he leaves. No threats, no speeches about American superiority, just the rules, and the implication, unstated but overwhelming, that the rules will be followed. The first weeks are a slow unraveling. The prisoners are assigned to work details, road maintenance, agriculture, construction projects that support the camp infrastructure. They are paid in script 10 cents a day, which can be used at the camp canteen for toiletries, cigarettes, snacks. The canteen itself is a revelation. It is stocked. There are items on the shelves: soap, razors, writing paper, candy bars. A private named Kenji Sato buys a Hershey bar, with his first week's wages. He has not tasted chocolate since before the war. He eats it slowly in his bunk, and he tries to reconcile the existence of this candy bar with the propaganda films he watched in training, the ones that showed Americans as decadent, wasteful, on the edge of collapse. If they are collapsing, he thinks, why do they have so much chocolate? It is a small question, but it burrows into his mind and will not leave. The prisoners begin to notice other things. The guards rotate on schedule, and they are not cruel. They are bored mostly, standing in the sun, watching men repair roads. Some of them are friendly, offering cigarettes, asking through the interpreter about Japan, about the war, with a curiosity that seems genuine rather than mocking. One guard, a corporal from Nebraska, shows Yamada a photograph of his family, his wife, and 2 daughters. He does not say why. He just shows it, then puts it back in his wallet. Yamada is haunted by that photograph. In the Imperial Army, you did not show weakness. You did not share your family with the enemy. But this man did, casually, as if it were normal. As if Yamada were a human being who might understand the love of a father for his daughters. It is a small thing. But small things, accumulated over weeks and months, become tectonic shifts. By June, the camp has developed rhythms. There are organized activities, baseball games on Sundays, language classes where prisoners can learn English and American soldiers can learn Japanese. There is a small library stocked with books in both languages. There is a vegetable garden that the prisoners are allowed to tend, and they grow daikon radish and bok choy, and the camp cook incorporates it into meals. Tanaka, the sergeant, writes in his journal, "They let us grow our own food. They let us play games. They let us have books. I was told this nation had no culture, no discipline, no respect. But what I see is a system so organized, so wealthy, that it can afford to treat us not as animals, but as men who have simply lost a war. And I am beginning to understand that this is not kindness. This is confidence. They do not fear us because they know they have already won. It is a realization that comes slowly, but it is coming. There is an incident in August that crystallizes everything. A prisoner, a young corporal named Masao Ito, falls ill with appendicitis. It happens suddenly, in the middle of the night. He is in severe pain, sweating, delirious. The camp medic examines him and immediately calls for an ambulance. Ito is transported to a civilian hospital in Silver City, 30 miles away. He's taken into surgery by an American doctor, a woman, which shocks him almost as much as the pain. The surgery is successful. He wakes up in a recovery room and a nurse is checking his vitals. She smiles at him. She does not speak Japanese, but she brings him water and adjusts his pillow. He stays in the hospital for 5 days. He is given antibiotics, pain medication, 3 meals a day. He shares a ward with American civilians, including an elderly rancher recovering from a heart attack. The rancher, through a volunteer interpreter, asks Ito where he is from. Ito says Osaka. The rancher nods and says he has always wanted to see Japan, that he has heard the gardens are beautiful. It is a surreal conversation. And when Ito is returned to the camp, he is a different man. He tells the others about the hospital, about the doctor, the nurse, the rancher, and the story spreads through the camp like wildfire. Because it confirms what they are all beginning to suspect. This is not an aberration. This is the system. They are not being treated well because they are in a special camp or because they have been lucky. They are being treated well because this is how America treats prisoners of war. All of them, consistently as a matter of policy. And the implications of that are staggering. Because it means that everything they were taught, everything they believed about the inferiority and chaos of American society was a lie. Not a small lie, a foundational lie. The kind of lie that, once exposed, makes you question everything else you were told. The war ends in August 1945. The announcement is made over loudspeakers in the camp. Japan has surrendered. The prisoners gather in the yard, and there is no joy, but there is also no despair. just a numb, exhausted acceptance. Yamada sits on a bench and looks at the mountains in the distance and thinks about what comes next. He will be repatriated. He will go home to a Japan that no longer exists, to cities that have been bombed into ash, and he will carry with him the knowledge that he spent the last year of the war in an enemy camp that fed him, paid him, healed him, and treated him with a baseline of human decency that his own army never afforded to its prisoners. It is a knowledge that will shape the rest of his life. Repatriation begins in late 1945. The prisoners are processed out in waves, given back pay, given clean clothes, given medical clearances. Some of them cry, not from joy, but from confusion and grief, and the strange, dislocating feeling of realizing that they have been on the wrong side of a truth they cannot unsee. Before they board the ships, a Red Cross worker hands each man a small care package, a bar of soap, a toothbrush, a comb, a chocolate bar, a pack of cigarettes. It is a gesture so small, so routine, that the worker does not even think about it. But to the prisoners it is everything. It is proof that even now, even as they leave, the system that held them does not see them as vermin to be discarded. It sees them as men. And that recognition, extended even to the defeated enemy, is a form of power they never understood until it was too late. Yamada returns to Osaka in January 1946. The city is ruins. His family home is gone. His parents are alive, living in a shelter made of salvaged wood. He tells them about the camp, about the baseball games, about the hospital, about the Hershey bar. They do not believe him. They think he is traumatized, that his mind has been broken by captivity. But he insists, and over time, as other prisoners return with similar stories, a quiet, uncomfortable truth begins to circulate among the veterans. The Americans did not win because they were more brutal. They won because they were more organized, more wealthy, and more fundamentally confident in their system. And that confidence allowed them to extend decency even to their enemies, not as a sign of weakness, but as a demonstration of strength. In 1952, Yamada writes a letter to the camp at Lordsburg. He does not know if anyone will read it, but he writes it anyway. He thanks them. He thanks the guards, the medics, the cooks, the officer who explained the rules on his first night. He says that his time in the camp taught him something his own military never did, that strength and decency are not opposites, that a nation can be powerful and humane at the same time, and that the greatest victories are not won by breaking the enemy, but by showing them a better way. The letter is filed in an archive. It is discovered in 1989 by a historian researching POW experiences. It is now part of the permanent collection at the National Archives in Washington, D.C., and it stands as a testament to the strange, quiet power of a system that was so sure of its victory that it could afford to be kind.